You studied for 8 hours yesterday, but when you woke up this morning, you could barely remember half of what you learned. Does this sound like you? Research shows that your brain forgets 70% of new information within just 24 hours. That means 70% of those 8 hours were completely wasted. But here's the scary part. You are not alone. Millions of students around the world are trapped in this cycle. They study harder and harder, but they remember less and less. Meanwhile, in Japan, students are learning thousands of complex characters called kanji, and they remember them for years. They score higher on tests with less study time. They seem to have unlocked a secret code to memory that the rest of the world does not know about. Are they just naturally smarter? No. Do they study 20 hours a day? Also, no. The truth is much simpler and more powerful. Japanese students have discovered something that will change how you think about learning forever. The forgetting curve, discovered by German scientist Hermann Ebbinghaus in 1885, shows that we lose information at a predictable rate unless we do something to stop it. But Japanese students found ways to beat this curve. They found ways to hack their own brains. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 secret techniques that Japanese students use to remember everything. These are not your typical study tips. These methods are backed by real science and proven by thousands of students. If you use these techniques the right way, you will never study the same again. You will start remembering things without even trying. You will feel like your brain became a supercomputer. So stay with me until the end, because the last technique is so powerful that it will change your life completely. The first technique is called active recall, and it goes against everything you have been taught about studying. Most students think studying means putting information into their brain. They read their notes over and over. They highlight their textbooks until every page looks like a rainbow. They watch videos and think they are learning. But this is all wrong. Here is what Japanese students discovered. Learning does not happen when you put information in. Learning happens when you try to pull information out. Think about it like this. When you go to the gym, your muscles do not grow when you look at the weights. They grow when you lift them. Your brain works the same way. Memory grows when you force it to work. So how do you use active recall? It is simple, but it feels uncomfortable at first. Close your book right now. Take a blank piece of paper, write down everything you remember about the topic you just studied. Do not look back at your notes. Do not check your phone. Just write from memory. You will struggle. You will feel frustrated. You might think you are stupid. But this struggle is exactly what makes your memory stronger. When you force your brain to retrieve information, you create stronger connections in your neural pathways. Each time you struggle to remember something, you are actually building a better memory. While other students are reading passively and forgetting everything by tomorrow, you will be actively training your brain to hold information forever. This is why Japanese students can remember thousands of kanji characters. They do not just read them, they practice recalling them from memory over and over again. The second technique is called spaced repetition, and recent studies in medical schools show that students who use spaced repetition score significantly higher on exams. This technique is like watering a plant. You do not pour a bucket of water once and walk away. You water it a little bit over many days. Your memory works exactly the same way. Instead of cramming everything in one study session, you review the same information at specific time intervals. Here's how it works. Study something today, review it tomorrow, review it again in 3 days, then review it in 1 week, then in 2 weeks. Each time you review, your memory gets stronger and lasts longer. Students who use spaced repetition software like Anki showed higher academic performance compared to traditional study methods. Why does this work so well? Because you are reviewing information right before your brain forgets it. You are catching it just at the moment it starts to fade away. Japanese students have been using this technique for decades. They do not wait until the night before the test to study. They use systematic review to keep knowledge fresh in their minds. The spacing effect was first discovered by Hermann Ebbinghaus, who found that we remember things more effectively when we spread reviews out over time. You can start using this technique today. After you study something new, mark it on your calendar. Review it the next day for just 5 minutes. Then review it again in 3 days, then in a week. This simple system will help you remember information for months or even years. The third technique is called the Kumon method, and it completely changes how you think about learning. Most students try to eat the whole elephant in one bite. They want to learn everything at once. They get overwhelmed and give up. Japanese students learn to cut the elephant into tiny pieces. The Kumon method is about learning in small, powerful steps. Instead of trying to memorize 100 vocabulary words in one day, you learn 5 words perfectly. Instead of reading an entire chapter, you master 1 page at a time. This might seem slower, but it is actually much faster in the long run. Why does this work? Because your brain can only handle so much new information at once. When you overload it, everything gets mixed up and forgotten. But when you give it small, manageable pieces, it can process and store them properly. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, talks about this idea. He says that small improvements of just 1% every day can make you 37 times better in 1 year. The Kumon method works the same way. You master a little bit every day, and over time, it adds up to something incredible. Japanese students do not try to become perfect in 1 day. They focus on tiny, consistent improvement. You can do this too. Instead of studying for 5 hours once a week, study for 30 minutes every day. Instead of trying to memorize an entire textbook, focus on one small section until you know it perfectly. The fourth technique is called Memory Palace, and it is one of the most powerful memory techniques used in Japan for centuries. This technique turns your mind into a storage building where you can keep information forever. Here's how it works. Think of a place you know very well. It could be your house, your school, or a route you walk every day. Now imagine walking through this place and putting pieces of information in specific locations. For example, if you need to remember a list of historical dates, you might put the first date at your front door, the second date in your living room, and so on. When you need to recall the information, you simply take a mental walk through your memory palace. You will find each piece of information exactly where you left it. This technique involves visualizing a familiar place and mentally placing pieces of information in specific locations within that place. Japanese students use this technique to memorize complex kanji characters. They create visual stories and mental images that make each character unforgettable. They do not just try to memorize the shape, they connect it to something meaningful in their mind. You can start building your own memory palace today. Choose a familiar location, walk through it mentally, and identify specific spots where you can place information. Practice putting simple lists in these locations and retrieving them. With practice, you will be able to store incredible amounts of information in your mind. The fifth and most powerful technique is called deep focus, or shu in Japanese. This is not just about concentration. This is about creating a state where your mind becomes completely absorbed in learning. Research from the University of Tokyo shows that when students write on physical paper, their brain activity increases significantly compared to digital devices. Japanese students create special rituals that signal to their brain that it is time to learn. They might light a candle, sit in the same chair, or use the same pen every time they study. These small actions tell their brain to switch into learning mode. But here's the secret part. They eliminate all distractions completely. No phone, no music, no notifications. Just pure, undisturbed focus on one task. Studies show that students who use analog methods like paper and pen have more brain activity in areas associated with memory and navigation. In our digital world, this seems impossible. But it is exactly what makes the difference between average students and exceptional ones. When you focus deeply on one thing, your brain absorbs information much faster and remembers it much longer. You can create your own deep focus ritual. Find a quiet place where you will not be disturbed. Turn off all your devices. Use the same setup every time you study. Light a candle or play the same quiet music. Do something small that signals to your brain that it is time to learn. Now here's something most people do not know. Recent research shows that traditional study techniques like rereading notes and highlighting feel productive, but your brain treats them like background noise. Your brain tunes them out just like you scroll past ads on social media. But these Japanese techniques work because they force your brain to actively engage with information. They make your brain work harder, and that is exactly what makes memory stronger. Let me ask you a question. How many times have you highlighted an entire page and then could not remember a single thing from it the next day? How many times have you read the same paragraph over and over but still felt confused? This happens because passive studying does not create real learning. Japanese students learned this secret hundreds of years ago. They discovered that the brain learns best when it has to struggle a little bit, when it has to work to retrieve information, when it has to make connections between different ideas. Recent memory research shows that forgetting follows different patterns over time, with critical changes happening around the 7-day mark. This is why the Japanese timing of reviews is so important. They review information at exactly the right moments to prevent forgetting. But here's the most important part. You do not need to change everything at once. Pick one of these techniques and start using it today. Maybe start with active recall. Instead of reading your notes tonight, close them and try to write everything from memory. Or maybe try spaced repetition. Review something you learned yesterday for just 5 minutes. The key is to start small, but start now. Japanese students did not become memory masters overnight. They practiced these techniques every day until they became natural habits. Remember, your brain is not broken. You are not stupid. You just need better tools. Research shows that students forget 70% of what they learn within 24 hours of studying, but this can be prevented with the right techniques. The Japanese students prove that anyone can develop an incredible memory with the right methods. These techniques might feel strange at first. They might seem harder than just reading your notes, but that difficulty is exactly what makes them work. Your brain grows stronger when it has to work harder, just like your muscles grow stronger when you lift heavier weights. So here's my challenge for you. Pick one technique from this video and use it for the next week. Do not try to use all 5 at once. Just pick one and master it. I guarantee you will see a difference in how much you remember. The students who just watch this video and do nothing will keep struggling with the same memory problems. But the students who take action and apply these techniques will start remembering everything they study. They will feel like they unlocked a superpower. Which technique are you going to try first? Write it in the comments below. And if this video helped you, make sure to like and subscribe for more study techniques that actually work. Your future self will thank you for learning these Japanese memory secrets today.